Okay, first, I have to say it's been so cool testing Zowie mice again. It's been years. I actually felt a bit sentimental over it. Cool charging dock too. Slightly magnetized, so it's actually really easy to put the mouse on it. For both the U2 and the EC. I didn't get a chance to review the EC wireless when it came out, so I'll include it in parts of this video to serve as a review to get it on the website. And the U2 is a new shape. Well, not a completely new shape. I'll cover some of the details later, but shape is king. So I want to get to that first. I'm still a fan of the FK and S designs, and if you look at the S2, the U2 is very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if they got a pro team together and said, okay, what would you do to this mouse? And then they shaped it for claw grip. That's the simplest way of putting it. It's an S2 with refinements for a more aggressive claw grip. With the way it curves inward, it really pushes your fingers into that grip. If you're a relaxed fingertip gripper like me, this actually feels a little uncomfortable as the sidewalls aren't as flat as they used to be. They're angled, so your fingers naturally pull the mouse back, which is where you get a problem with the side button placement. Because if your thumb is flat against the side, it can accidentally click mouse 4. But if you grip it with the intended claw grip, I think they're well positioned, and they should actually make it easier for you to grip. Because it's not that different to the S2, I'll just quickly go over the shape. It has slight comfort curves in the buttons, and a flat top. And then a wide back, again like the S2. And then fairly aggressive curves leading to a thinner front, and a slightly longer. Maybe because they've added a bit of extra length to the buttons. Why, I'm not sure. Claw grip tends to be back here, although there is something to be said for stability. This is something we found on the FK2. It's very good with lateral aiming, because it is extra long. So despite the grip not needing the buttons this long, it may actually help your aim just a little bit, especially in games like Counter-Strike. And if you do want to fingertip grip it, you'll have plenty of room. Otherwise, it has the right design principles with curved sides to help with grip, good for comfort, and because it's based on one of the best designs ever, you know that most of the details on this mouse are going to be very good. The S2 was actually my main for a while, so I can definitely recommend these sorts of shapes. But it's also a pretty safe design from Zowie's point of view, because their last few new designs haven't really been new designs. They've been modified FK shapes. So some quick history. Zowie had the little mouse, the Myco, never tried one personally, but their mains have been the EC and the FK series. Then there's the ZA series, which is an FK with a bigger hump at the back, and no longer the flat top. And the S series, which is an FK that's not as long, slightly higher and a bit wider. And now the U series, which is another FK design, but with the changes on the S, thinner sides, and a claw grip focus. So new, technically, but not that new. The dimensions are slightly different with the shape changes. Grip width about 5.43 centimeters. Length about 12.3. Height about 3.85. And button height a little higher than I'd like. That's about 2 centimeters. Lower seems to be better in my experience. I wouldn't really call it a palm grip mouse or fingertip, so I'm just going to recommend this for claw, and I'd say between 18 and 20 centimeters. Here it is next to some other mice so you get an idea of the size. As for the EC, it's been a great shape for years. I assume you don't need a breakdown. This shape has now been done to death, by a lot of copycats as well. It's very comfortable, with the only issue on the back right in my opinion, because it doesn't really give you a space for your little finger to hold. The intended grip seems to be with the little finger forward like this, but when it is in that position it feels really good. I can barely palm it, so under 18 centimeters for that one. Fingertip and claw grip for the EC2 between 18 and 20, and the EC1 above 20. I think I said 19.5 in a previous video, so it's just about that. I usually encourage people to go for smaller mice if they can, so if you do have larger hands, I would recommend trying the EC2, but if that's not comfortable after 3 weeks, then yeah, you'll probably need the EC1. Anyway, they give you a couple of cables too, so one for the dock and the other for the dongle. Very cool that you can use both, but you don't need to. It's just good to have options. And some extra feet. Here's the button sound test for an idea of what they're like. So they were fine in game. Left and right are a bit mushy though, but that also means they're not that loud either. Could be better, but I think all buttons could be better these days. The wheel is fairly easy to click. Never been a fan of Zowie wheels, as I find them loud and annoying, with little to no advantage. Maybe they last longer. I don't know. The side buttons are quite good though. There's a nice snap to them, and not much travel distance. So overall, they're okay. I'm only really liking the side button sound and feel. The rest I'd like to see better. But again, they were fine in game, so not a big deal, just something they could improve upon. And on the base you can see the polling rate and DPI buttons, and a switch for dongle or dock. Build quality wise, the Zowie coating seems like a premium material. It feels really good, and you just know you're using a Zowie mouse. It's winter here, so a little dry, didn't slip out of my hand, but the well designed shape also helps with that. And it feels solid, so the mouse seems really well made. No creaks or cracks. The weights are 61 grams for the U2, and 78 for the EC2. Apparently about 80 for the EC1, which is a bit heavy these days, but the U2 is a good weight, which I'm guessing is now the future for Zowie. This weight and a bit lighter maybe. Also, if you're using a glass pad or speed pad in general, I found the extra weight can help. More on that in another video. In-game performance was all good as you would expect these days, latency seemed fine, so on to the conclusion. For the EC series, I don't think I need to cover it too much. The wireless seems good, so if that's what you want, they're solid picks, if you don't mind the extra weight. But this video is mainly for the U2, and while mouse design is subtle so even small changes can make a huge change in feel, it's still not big enough a change for me to get too excited about. If you want a Zowie S2 but more for claw grip, I think it's an awesome mouse. And don't fall into the trap of getting a super safe shape. I recommend finding one that suits your grip. Zowie seem to be catering to the claw grip market of the S2 and the FK2 on this mouse. So if that's your grip, and you've liked those mice in the past, I can highly recommend trying the U2. If you're more into relaxed fingertip grip or a hybrid with some palm, I don't think it's too suitable. It can work, but it's not specifically for that. I think there are better mice for that. That said, Zowie quality is great. I love the dock and the extra features, and still no software, so I hope to see the rumoured FK2 wireless soon. But I'd also love to see some new shapes. So great mice, great fun checking them out again. Where they rank? Well, weight is a big focus, and I really like the NP01 shape, so I'd be ranking the EC wireless up there somewhere. The U2 has a pretty good weight, but the shape is niche for claw, so it's harder for me to recommend in general, as I do try to keep the list fairly safe for recommendations. Actually, just thinking about this now, I might need to add a recommended grip style, and that way you can see the ranks for the mice that are going to be more suited to your grip. That'd be really helpful but also complicated, so I'll see what I can do. But if you're looking at a top mice list for claw grip, this would rank even higher than on the main list. For now you just have to find out what's suitable to you, and I'll put it with the XM2WE. A reminder, don't stress the number too much, all of these mice are amazing. To even get on the top mice list is pretty difficult. There are just so many good options now. So, as always, you need to find what's right for you, not just look at the top rank. Big thanks to BenQ Zowie for sending these out for a review. As always, all thoughts are my own. They haven't told me to say anything. Usual links below if you want to help support what I do. Hope that helps. Sub, like and share, and I'll catch you in the next.